It's important for you to know, like Peter before you, I'm praying for you. It's important for you to grow, like Jesus before you, my voice you will know.
Hi, and Patrick Marique of Godly Training Ministries here, and once again we're so very thankful that you are taking the time to view the Walk Applied video series. We trust you're being blessed and edified by this series. In presentation number 18, we examined sonship and adoption and their relationship to justification and redemption. Now, in presentation 19, we'll look at Paul's example and his explanation of the spiritual adoption and how sonship has profound and significant meaning for us and how we see ourselves in our relationship to God. Let's read Galatians together now and before we dive into the topic. Galatians 4 verses 1 through 7. What I am saying is that as long as the heir is a child, he's no different from a slave, although he owns the whole estate. He is subject to guardians and trustees until the time set by his father. So also, when we were children, we were in slavery under the basic principles of the world. But when the time had fully come, God sent his Son, born of a woman born under law, to redeem those under law, that we might receive the full rights of sons. Because you are sons, God sent the Spirit of his Son into our hearts, the Spirit who calls out, Abba, Father. So you are no longer a slave, but a son, and since you are a son, God has made you also an heir. Now, what Paul was describing here in his letter to Galatians was the example of a wealthy Roman or Greek family, which was something they all would have recognized. And in the Greek and Roman world, the notion of coming of age was indeed a very well-defined process. And you had two basic scenarios. There was a Jewish scenario, and then there was the Greco-Roman scenario. Now, the Greeks and Romans had a different process than the Jews. Now, under the Greco-Roman scenario, you sat under a tutor until you were around 14, and you started, in fact, to conduct your own affairs around 14, but you didn't have your independence until you were about 25. And essentially, as Paul had indicated, up until around 14, you were considered similar to a slave. You had ownership of the estate and all its resources. You had standing. But you had to have experiential knowledge before you could exercise authority over your possessions. And you also had other scenarios whereby the wealthy person might not have had a son. They might adopt a trusted servant or someone else they might be particularly fond of. And when you adopted someone in this manner, what's key to understanding here, it was as if they never existed prior to the adoption. It was just as if they had been born into the family in the natural way. Now, under this system, for all intents and purposes, their prior life had essentially been wiped out. The adopted father would now take responsibility for the adopted son and took care of whatever former obligations that might have existed. The newly adopted son, of course, might have had, or the adoptive father could certainly choose areas that the newly adopted son might still be responsible for. But the key thing to remember here, it was again as if you had never existed before. Life completely started anew for you. Thus, what Paul is communicating to us here is that when you become a son, and this is of utmost importance, you have full rights as a son. You have the intimacy of relationship. We don't get fired for breaking the rules. We have full assurances of intimacy and relationship. And continuing on with this theme, when you become a son, it means you have access through prayer. And there's a confidence and boldness when you integrate all this into your belief system that comes with your new standing. There's that guarantee of sharing in God's glory. It quite literally means that God now treats us as if we have done everything Jesus has done, because we have equal status as a son. This concludes our discussion of how Paul views sonship and adoption and the enormous impact it has for us. My sincere prayer for you is that it's had a true life-changing impact on your how you view your standing with Jesus, that we are treated the same as if we are a son born into the family. This is an awesome truth, and it should give one great comfort and great security. Next, in presentation number 20, we're going to talk about what it means to have God as our Abba Father, literally, Daddy. Then in presentation 21, we're going to examine the weighty topic of the bloodline. Join us, won't you? We know you'll be blessed and edified by continuing in this series. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, train yourself to be godly.
It's important for you to know, like Peter before you, I'm praying for you. It's important for you to grow, like Jesus before you. My voice you will know.